For 47 years, the official record said Maurice Flitcroft played one round of professional golf and disappeared. That's the story the Royal and Ancient Golf Club tells. It isn't what happened. Someone made sure you'd never learn what he actually exposed. Here's what the records were rewritten to hide. 1976. The British Open. Formby Golf Club, Lancashire, England. The oldest major in golf. The most protected gate in the sport. To enter qualifying, you had to be a professional golfer, registered, verified, credentialed by bodies that had spent a century building walls to keep out people exactly like Maurice Flitcroft. Flitcroft was a crane operator from Barrow-in-Furness, 46 years old. He had never played an 18-hole round of golf in his life. He took up the game 18 months before he entered the Open. He practiced on a beach. He learned from library books. He submitted his entry form. And the R&A cleared him to play. That's not the part that matters. This is. Maurice Flitcroft shot 121, the worst score ever recorded in the history of the Open Championship. He took 12 shots on a single hole. He finished 49 strokes over par. His playing partners, credentialed professionals, requested officials remove him from the course after the first 9 holes. The R&A called it an embarrassment, a clerical error, a loophole that had already been closed. But when journalists tried to pull Flitcroft's entry paperwork after the fact, the documentation was incomplete. When they requested his handicap verification, the one piece of evidence that should have stopped him at the door, the R&A said it had been handled. They couldn't produce it. The paper trail for how Maurice Flitcroft cleared their vetting process didn't fully exist. Not because someone forgot to file it, but that's not the part they buried. The obvious reading is incompetence. A form slipped through. An overworked official missed a box. That's what the R&A said. That's what every mainstream golf history repeats. Here's what doesn't fit. Flitcroft didn't submit a fraudulent entry. He listed himself as a professional golfer. He paid his fee. He showed up when and where he was told. The R&A cleared him. And then, when he came back in 1983 under the name Gerald Hoppy, they caught him after 9 holes. When he returned as Count Manfred von Hofmannsthal, they caught him in the car park. When he entered as Gene Paskey, they flagged him at registration. Every single time after 1976, they caught him immediately. The first time, they didn't catch him at all. Here's what the Royal and Ancient couldn't say publicly. In 1976, the British Open had no centralized verification system for professional status. None. You declared yourself a professional. You paid your entry fee. You played. The R&A's credentialing process existed on paper, in rulebooks, in press releases, in the mythology they'd built around the world's oldest major. But in practice, for the 1976 qualifying round spread across multiple regional sites simultaneously, the process was a handshake and a filing cabinet. Flitcroft didn't break through a system. He walked through a door that wasn't locked because they had never bothered to lock it. And that is what they buried for 47 years. Because if you understood that any man in England could declare himself a professional golfer and enter Open qualifying with nothing but a check and a straight face, what did that say about everyone who entered before him? What did it say about the professionals who cleared qualifying with thin credentials, with amateur club affiliations dressed up on forms, with regional reputations that nobody in London had ever actually verified? The R&A didn't just want to erase Maurice Flitcroft. They wanted to erase the question he implied, so they made him the punchline, the bumbling amateur, the lovable fool, because a fool doesn't ask you to audit the whole structure. A scandal does. After 1976, the R&A quietly overhauled their professional verification process entirely. They never announced why. They didn't reference Flitcroft. The new procedures appeared in administrative small print as if they'd always existed. Flitcroft kept coming back not because he thought he could play, but because he understood something they didn't want him to prove. He was testing the door each time. They kept changing the lock. He became a folk hero in Britain. He gave interviews. He was genuinely beloved. The R&A never acknowledged him in any official capacity. His score stayed in the record books only because removing it would have required explaining the reason. They wanted the number there. They did not want the story behind it. When Flitcroft died in 2007, golf's governing bodies offered no statement. The man who exposed the world's most prestigious tournament as an unlocked door went quietly, without a word from the institution he'd embarrassed. But here's what nobody has ever publicly answered. Maurice Flitcroft didn't attempt professional golf once. He attempted it 5 times across 2 decades. 4 of those rounds are well documented. And buried inside at least one of those later entry rolls, a list cleared by R&A officials, there is a name that no one has publicly claimed. What you were told is that one man slipped through. What the records suggest is that he wasn't alone, and the governing body that controls the question is the same one that controls the answer.